Hey everybody, it's October 13th. I'm talking to you from beautiful Oyama, BC. You can see the flowers behind me there and all the greenery. It's a little nippy right now, but still it's really beautiful here at this time of year. I'm staying at Sandy and Dwayne Weitzel's place, um, and many thanks to them for having me here. Today's video is going to be part one of my planned series on leadership. And this part one is going to have some subsets because it's quite large. This first part is I'm going to talk about authority. Now, I just wanted to put some parameters around about the topic matter. So one is, and a few caveats here, disclaimers for want of a better word, is that I want you all know me, and some of you who don't know me need to know that I am in no way the extreme expert on authority and leadership and management. I've done a lot of it over the years. I've got lots of experience in it. I do have a master's degree in leadership, but there's always more to learn. Now, the other piece on this is that I'm going to keep these videos pretty basic. I mean, I can go down a rabbit hole here for all this stuff. There's people who make their lifetime work talking about authority structures in leadership and management, and you can write millions of books about it, and there's millions of books out there about it. Some of my favorites, but so for the purposes of this video, though, it's going to be pretty tight and pretty basic, and some of it's going to be infused with my opinions, which is why I got this channel. Might rant a little bit, I don't know. And I don't really have an overall plan or strategy of how I'm going to do it. I thought I just got to go. I'm just going to start, and I'm going to start with authority. Now, why am I starting with a talk about authority before I talk about leadership and management? Well, I really believe that in order to be a good manager or a good leader, you need a good understanding of what authority is. Where does authority come from? How is authority exercised or mandated or given? Um, and how does an understanding of authority affect our lives, etc. Uh, and the reason why is that if you don't have a good understanding of that and how authority functions, you're going to end up making some really dumb decisions, or you're going to be opening yourself up to some harm, or open up people to other harm, if you don't understand how things are structured properly and how to handle authority. You can see this in today's world. One of my favorite examples of that is that whole sovereign citizen movement. I don't want to criticize that, but I think if you take a look at it, you have these people who genuinely believe that they have authority to do something and to refuse things, and they're finding out pretty quickly that they don't. And they've made decisions in their lives, and some of them are ending up in jail because of it. And that's because there's an innate misunderstanding of authority and authority structure and how that works, creating some poor decision making. So, how is so jumping right in? So, with authority, you know, how is the authority defined? And so you just have to go to a dictionary, find that out. And so I went to Oxford Dictionary online, and I'll leave the link below in the comment section. And Oxford Dictionary has three definitions there that I like. And there's other dictionaries out there and other definitions, but I like these ones here. They're pretty much to the point. So I'll just read them out to you. Definition number one: authority is the power or right to give orders, make decisions, and enforce obedience. Number two, a person or organization having power or control in a particular, typically political or administrative sphere. And number three, the power to influence others, especially because of one's commanding manner or one's recognized knowledge about something. All right, so I'm going to go back over those again and kind of give you some examples to help us nail this down. So, number one, the power or right to give orders, make decisions, and enforce obedience. So, you can translate that just to being a manager. Many times in my career as a manager, I would give orders. You need to do this. I'd make decisions. Well, this is what we're going to spend that money on. Or I'd enforce obedience. People not adhering to the collective agreement, and I'd hold or their behavior is such that I have to rein them in and say, look, you got to not do that, or this can happen to you. The second one, a person or an organization having power or control in a particular, typically political or administrative sphere. So that is self-explanatory. So you have a politician, or and that could be a civic politician, provincial, federal, whatever. And in their sphere of authority, they have power and control in a certain manner. An example of that from my health care background, you have the Minister of Health in BC, and the Ministry of Health, led by that minister, would then say, well, this is what we want to do, and they would bring this package together, and they would send it to the health authorities, and they say, do this. And it was up to the health authorities then to make that happen, and it all goes down. And the third piece, the power to influence others, especially because of one's commanding manner. I get a kick out of that one. Or one's recognized knowledge about something. So this is, I get a kick out of the commanding manner, because I've said before that that which is said with confidence can be taken as truth. And so you have people, and you see this on the internet all the time, where people have a commanding approach, or they're charismatic, and they have all these really neat graphs, and they pull stuff, and they cherry pick stuff out of the atmosphere. This is my evidence, or they say it with such confidence that they come across as knowing what they're talking about, and they sound believable, and so then they have influence, even though they're talking out their arse. Or it may be someone with recognized knowledge. So here I am, 25 years experience in healthcare, in nursing, and in management, and home support, and community programs, a specialty in gerontology. That gives me a certain degree of expertise in those areas. And I have had people come to me for advice on those things because of my recognized understanding of that topic. No one ever came to me to find out what to do with pediatrics or maternity stuff or anything. My specialty was old people, right? So those are the three definitions of authority that I kind of liked, straight to the point, and some examples around them. So one of the things I want to pull out of those definitions is that in item number 1, it says the power or right to give orders. So where does that power or right to exercise authority come from? These sovereign citizens, are kind of confused on that. You heard about these people who declare, I'm a sovereign citizen, and I don't have to follow the laws of the land. Who gives you the authority, the right to do, to tell me what to do? And so they run around and don't have license plates or insurance or whatever, or the police, they have this here legal gibberish that they talk about that they think gives them the legal right to do what they want. So that's just an example. And they really believe in that. But, ultimately, where they end up, they end up in jail or fined, or they end up not happy. So where do people get authority? Well, there are four basic theories of authority, and I'm going to read them off to you from my notes here. And some of these you'll recognize right off the top. And so I'll just read them out. So the first one is formal or classic theory of authority, which means that it's hierarchical. So authority comes from the top down. So that means that basically whoever's got the biggest stick says, I'm the king, and now do what I say, right? And from the top down, you will obey me because I have the most power, as shown by, I have the largest sword or whatever. Second theory is the acceptance theory of authority. So that's a bottom-up theory. So what that means is that the people give authority to those to exercise authority over them. So that's kind of what happens when that person has the power to influence, because they're of a commanding manner or recognized knowledge. So you as a human being can give that person authority, and the more people that give that authority to who want to follow that person, then the more authority then that leader has. So you'll see this when governments collapse. They got the president, I'll tell you, the Romanian president, Ceausescu, when Romania collapsed. He had authority up until the point in time when the people said, nah, we don't think you have. And they overthrew him and the guy got executed. You can go through history and see all kinds of stuff like that. And it happens on a smaller front too, as well, not just with countries in the large scale. And then the third one is the authority theory of the situation. So it's a theory of the situation. So what does that mean? So there's a crisis or an emergency situation. You got this something happened. And everyone's looking around for someone to take charge because no one knows what to do. And some person raises their hand and goes, "All right, we need to do something. Follow me. We'll do this." You see this in movies a lot. Crisis happens. Usually it's a zombie apocalypse. Everyone follows this one guy because they seem to know what to do, and it's better that they make decisions. And not everybody rises to the occasion as a leader. Not everyone should be a leader, in my opinion. And so this one person says, well, no one's doing something, so I'm going to do it. And then they follow that person. We give then the people around give their authority to that person. And they can exercise it. And the last one they have is called the competence theory of authority. So, virtue of competence. By virtue of confidence, skill, and knowledge of a person, not a positional type of authority. So what happens then? So that you'll see this in and I've seen it in different authority structures in healthcare even. You'll have a manager of a place, of a facility, and that manager will be a weak leader or a weak manager, or they'll lose the trust of the team. And it doesn't matter what they say, people aren't going to do what they say. Or somewhere in that team, someone rises up and says, and they have evidence that they know what they're doing and their decisions are sound, and so people will gravitate toward that person has to say or do. Even though that person doesn't have that position as manager, basically the manager has lost the ability to lead, and then someone else rises up within the vacuum of that leadership vacuum, and then people gravitate to that person. So those are the four basic theories. I think every one of those are valid. I've seen every one of those in action, even in my tenure as a leader or a manager, whether in a church or whether in at work. So I think what I'll do then is, what am I at here? I'm at 14 minutes. I want to kind of keep it as short as possible. So that's just the first segment, just to provide you with some definitions and some understanding of what authority is and where does it come from. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to develop some other videos to dive into this a bit deeper. to give you some examples from my life on how this works, and what I've seen, and how did I manage my way out of that, or how did I even do some of this myself, and some of my mistakes I've made. And then also how a better understanding of authority can help you and help you make better decisions, not just in leadership and management, but also in your home as well, and your decisions for your life. Anyway, so I'll close with that, and I just want to thank you guys for listening to me and hearing me out, and stay tuned.